Even after 64 years of independence, has Malaysian politics truly matured? In fact, do our politicians possess the right characteristics to lead the nation, and have they made changes for our country? Given Malaysia's current state of affairs, it is evident that our politicians are using racial and religious rhetoric to mask their incompetence by creating news headlines for all the wrong reasons. Behind the facade of parliamentary democracy lies the use of violence in the form of threats, coercion, intimidation, and physical assault, which are funded at the highest levels. The division between politics and gangsterism in the country is demarcated by such a thin line that we need to ask, are politicians the catalyst for extreme violence in Malaysia?
Oh, I think they have, because I'm going to talk about hate speech and violence in relation to marginalized communities.
For example, what's happening now lately, off late, is hate speech. When politicians, they give hate speech by putting down another person's race, another person's religion, his following, his supporters will then start giving their comments, which could possibly contribute to violent crime.
I think sometimes our politicians are very irresponsible about the things that they say. They don't realize that they can actually create hatred, in the hearts of people and cause harm to the targets of their speech.
Assaulting another race, reprimanding other religion, publicly on social media, this and that.
Dia kadang-kadang, sebagai contoh, ahli politik itu berkatakan A, tapi apabila seorang anak muda itu subscribe satu idea, dia mungkin boleh gabungkan idea yang sekadar hate speech itu dengan benda-benda yang berkaitan dengan militan dan sebagainya, dan akhirnya bawa kepada tindakan keganasan. Siapa sangka keganasan tak semestinya dilakukan oleh satu kumpulan yang besar, boleh jadi satu dua orang.
We also have violence in a mass level, at the communal to a communal type of clashes.
If this goes on, if we let it go on, when it comes to over a period of time, there will be a retaliation, and possibly there could be violent crime that happen clash among races or religions.
In that sense, you can also see community clash between one group with another groups, and there it can also be translated into a certain political movement or political rhetoric, where politicians also picked it up to reinforce that, and then you see communities from one groups to another group, they attack each other, they causing this this constant stress.
Tetapi jika kita lihat empat individu ni adalah individu yang mana mereka selalu dijadikan sasaran oleh parti-parti politik, ahli-ahli politik pada ketika itu, yang membangkang pada ketika itu.
So for example, the transgender community, the LGBT community.
Setiap kali ada isu-isu Islam ataupun isu-isu Melayu yang terlibat, mereka sering menjadi sasaran.
During the previous administration of Pakatan Harapan, they were government for 22 months. We came across a lot of hate speech.
Our politicians freely talk about them. They run them down, and I know that there are cases where there have been transgender persons from the transgender community who have been killed. Why? What is it that causes that kind of violence?
Sampaikan mereka ni digambarkan sebagai musuh Islam, musuh orang Melayu dan sebagainya. Jadi dengan adanya mereka yang memainkan sentimen perkauman macam ni tidaklah memenanjatkan sekiranya terdapat orang yang merasakan bahawa mereka harus lakukan sesuatu untuk memusnahkan, melenyapkan risiko ataupun musuh Islam ni daripada bumi ni.
We came across lots of unwanted comments on social media which take very ugly turns. But what the government did about it, did they really get hold of all these perpetrators and prosecuted them in court? No. Some of them just got away.
So I think politicians have to be very responsible about their speech. And I remember saying this before, when those with children, when you put on the TV, you should be proud about what our leaders are saying, you should encourage your children to hear them. Here I would switch off the TV. I don't want my children to hear what these politicians are saying because it's a bad example.
One good example was Zakir Naik. Zakir Naik was throwing his speech over and over, insulting other people, other race and religion. But what the government did, a majority of Malaysians, regardless, not only Indians or Hindus, but even Muslims, are angry with his speech. Certain comments that he threw on social media, on his speeches and all this, people are very upset about that. But the sad part is that the government of the day, which is Pakatan Harapan, they didn't do anything about it. They just let him walk around as a free man until today. So this is something that is very unfortunate, if you ask me.
And I wouldn't go to the extent to say that it is politics that caused that, or it is the words of the politician that caused it, because cause is quite direct. But certainly, if people are being irresponsible, then it will perpetuate and it will continue to create problems.
So I am a firm believer that hate speech leads to hate crimes. These are hate crimes, and I think our leaders must be more responsible. But they don't care, So when you say numbers of transgender murders go up, no one bats an eyelid. It's because there's certain sections of society, people don't think deserve any sympathy, empathy, that kind of thing. And that's why the politicians behave the way that they do.
So, to go back to context of Malaysia, in fact, we have been quite lucky that we have not seen very extreme type of violence. We've seen some cases of people being either assassinated or disappeared or anything. Until today, I can't be sure that this is a result of certain political incitement.
I'm a firm believer that we must have some kind of either legislation, against hate speech. I think you even hear hate speech in Parliament, which is shocking. And I personally think that we should take hate speech more seriously.
Jadi saya percaya bahawa ahli politik kena lebih bertanggungjawab dalam apa yang mereka katakan, apa yang mereka lakukan, kerana macam saya katakan tadi, sedikit sebanyak apa yang mereka cakap tu boleh menyumbang kepada keadaan atau situasi yang tidak diingini.
Tapi dengan berlaku perkara-perkara ini, kita tidak boleh hanya bersikap reaksionis bereaksi saja. Ada keganasan, kita cuba untuk fahamkan masyarakat. Sepatutnya sebelum berlaku keganasan itu sudah ada anticipation.
So we should totally shrug it off. We should try to shut it down. See, one reason that we can prevent all this is, of course, political stability. Without good governance, without political stability, I strongly believe that we would not be able to stop all these problems.
I'm very alarmed at some of the things our politicians say. And of course, why is it politicians have that kind of effect? Because they are politicians. Because they are leaders, purportedly leaders. So if you're going to be a leader, lead by example. Lead in every single way so that anything that you say and do does not cause harm to another person.